No, your eyes do not deceive you. I am on the other side of the room over by the dolls. And that's because I had taken down the stuff that I need to put up to film for the other channel over there across the room. And then I was doing some stuff in my office and talking to some people, and I felt really, really strongly that I needed to go make another video about how we can get better together. So let's do it. So what's so important, right? I meditate. I don't meditate as much as I used to. I used to do it like twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day when I was in the process of trying to rebuild my life when I got sick with MS. But I am really mindful because I took 2 8-week courses on mindfulness as prescribed by my doctor. No, really, the neurologist was like, here, you need to go do this with this lady who helps chronically ill people do this. So I am mindful of my different states, and I'm mindful of my thoughts, because my thoughts can go places that I don't want to go. And so with lots of discipline, lots of mindfulness, meditation, I have a reasonably good grasp on my thoughts. I had a horrible one before, and I was just like, oh, wow, where'd that come from? Way to catastrophize. But I was mindful of it instead of it letting to, continue to cycle around in here. But then I also get thoughts like this that won't let go. And when they're like this, it means that sometimes I'll know who I need to talk to. Sometimes, and if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen it, where I've been like, I'm sorry, I just need to make this video because somebody out there needs to hear it. And then I just kind of go off on something. That's what this is. Everyone is talking about self-care and self-love. And I think that is super, super important, obviously. I don't think that self-love is the answer entirely, because what I wrote down in my notes at some point was self-love isn't the answer, and neither is self-hate. And I was like, what the heck did that mean? And so, it's something I wrote in my journal and something I've been pondering on. And then I started to realize that we are trying to be very positive. We talked a little bit about toxic positivity, and I think this is one of those intersections, because we're trying to be really mindful about the language we use in the way we talk about ourselves and, what we do with ourselves. And so we talk about self-care, and we see it's a proactive positive. It's self-care, it's self-love, it's self-worth, and it's all good stuff. But I don't think that we talk enough about the other side that needs to be looked at. So you can increase your self-love, and you absolutely should fill up your self-love bucket. But there's another bucket in you that needs to get emptied, so that then when this is all filled up, you can fill that side up. Because otherwise, you're always going to be walking around with a slightly, not completely full self-love bucket, because let's be real, and an overflowing, ridiculously heavy self-hate bucket dragging you down. You have to empty out the bucket of self-hate. Now, how the heck do you do that? And why the heck did you get like some sort of message from God to talk about that? I think it's because I've been self-hating. I'm not 100% sure. Self-hate is a problem for me. And you're like, you just talked about how you're mindfulness, and you meditate, and you do all this stuff, and you take classes, and you're making these videos for us. How can you possibly have a problem with self-hate? Oh, everybody does. Oh, everybody does. Everybody thinks they're a fraud. Everybody thinks they're an imposter. Everyone is lonely. Everyone thinks they're unpopular, and if they do think, know, or believe that they are popular, they probably know that they are popular for being someone who is not themselves authentically. Everybody's got something, is what I'm trying to say. And we are all filling up. Look, I have this little Barbie, and I was in the middle of a Barbie video. I have this little Barbie punch bowl. And I'm just like, I'm looking at it as I'm talking, and I'm just like seeing us like scoop out the self-hate so we can fill with the self-love. Okay, so I'll give you an example of what self-hate looks like. So my husband's having knee replacement surgery tomorrow. And that's a little nerve-wracking because I am disabled, and my husband does a lot for me and for us, for my son and I. My husband does the bulk of everything. And I realized today, as I was preparing, some stuff, and I'm washing a lot of stuff, and I'm doing a lot of stuff, and stuff that my body can't afford for me to do, but I'm going to do it anyway, and I'll get through it because I don't know, God comes in somewhere and helps me, I hope. The other thing I'm realizing is that I have a phone full of texts from local friends that have been asking me for over a week, please let me know how I can help you. Let us know if you need anything. Do you need help getting the house ready? I can cook some stuff for you and bring over some frozen meals for you. All of these wonderful people have offered to help me. And I've told every single one of them, thank you so much. I'll let you know if I need anything, but we're okay. We're not okay. We're not okay. We're not. I'm not ready. We're not ready. There's going to be a lot of Uber Eats going on. This is going to be a rough 4 to 6 weeks, more like 8 weeks for recovery, but, and I know he's going to try and push himself to get better faster so that he can get back to taking care of me. And so, Melissa, what the heck does that have to do with self-hate? It's because of my own self-loathing over my shame about my inability to do this for my family, these things which are traditionally the purview of the female person in the house. The nurturing and preparing to care for, and the cleaning and the scrubbing and the organizing and the, laundry. And I'm not saying that I think that women should do that and men should do something else. It's just, remember, I'm 54, so I grew up with that sort of, there's something in my head symbolic around being a good wife and mother and being a good housekeeper. It's symbolic because I do not live it. I didn't live it before I was disabled. Like, we used to share the chores equally in the house. Then I became disabled. And my husband does pretty much everything. And I loathe that about myself. So that's why I won't let anyone help my husband. That's not healthy. So that's a really sneaky example of self-hate. I'm punishing myself and my family over my self-hatred about being disabled. So what can I do about that? Like, how do I undo that? Well, first of all, I can let the conscious, the logical mind kick in, and I can go sit down and reply back to, some of the people who've asked me, if they can help with any setup or anything, and I can just say, you know what? If you could give me a hand with the shower chair thing, I could use that. Like something like that. I can just go, all right, forget how I feel. I'm going to do that. But that doesn't mean that self-hate about being disabled, that shame and loathing, it doesn't mean that isn't still there. I'm just going to work around it. I'm going to let it hurt and go do the right thing anyway, because I've consciously figured this out now, what this is. Like I said, it's not going to go away, so what are you going to do about it? How are you going to make that go away? There's a couple of different things. One is something I'm still learning something about, is called internal family systems therapy, or IFS therapy. And it's a little bit Jungian, like if you do like the archetypes thing, but it's not that. I'll put a link down below. I'm still learning about it. And basically the concept is that within us, we all have different parts. And a lot of these parts of us are frozen in a place of trauma. And that these parts act out almost without our control. Like we just let them take over. And so from that standpoint, from that therapy, which we'll talk about sometime in more depth, I could, ask that part, the little disability self-loathing, if we could have a chat, and I can try and figure it out. And I might do that because that does help me. But one of the easiest ways to do this is to talk about it to someone that I trust. Unfortunately for you guys right now, that's you. But I won't talk to my husband about it because that's too entwined in our relationship, and then he's going to feel guilty that I'm having stress about taking care of him. It's like a whole thing. Sorry, so I'm not going to have that conversation with him, and you're like, what? You're putting it in a video? My husband does not watch my videos. No. But I can talk to a friend about it. I can journal about it. I can talk to you guys. But, you know, I can talk to some people about it, and they can kind of help me unpack that. The other thing I can do, especially because, and this is helpful, you're like, you know, sometimes in life, I don't have time to go deal with this. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, as I'm understanding. This is, I feel like I'm just like someone plugged something into the top of my head. Like, I'm not even having these thoughts and they're coming out. That sometimes we need to have the wisdom and the discernment to say, this is something that I really need to explore and clear up and get out of my self-hate bucket. But now is just not the right time situationally. But I don't want to forget to do this. So you can write it down in a journal. You can, you know, I don't know, put a note in your calendar a month from now to be like, hey, remember that self-loathing about disability thing? I don't know. However, it would be a reminder to you that at some point you need to come back to this. And then deal with what you have to deal with right now, wherein you identified this. Put the somewhere so you can keep dealing. And then when you have time, you go in, but you have to go deal with it. Because if you don't deal with it, then it gets really annoyed. I have this theory, again, I'm like downloading this stuff, that emotions that try to make themselves known, heard, and understood. The thing that jumped out in my head and said, you know, the reason you're beating yourself up about this so much and you're telling people you don't need help is because you're ashamed to admit that you need help every freaking day. That came out from somewhere. It wanted to be seen and heard and understood. I'm in a situation where if I try to unpack that, I'm going to be a blubbering mess. So right now I'm making a video about it, but if I weren't making a video about it, I would put it in my journal. I would, if I thought it was really important, put a note in my, like the way I remembered to do this was while I was doing the laundry, I stopped and I quickly put something in my to-do list that I wanted to talk about this. But you could do that like at some point, you know, we're going to explore this. And then here's the thing, don't give it a long time because, right, I just told this thing like, wow, I see you. Oh, I see what you're saying there. Okay. All right, here's what I'm going to do for the immediate fix. I am going to reach out to a couple of these people that I'm okay with coming to my house, and I'm going to let them help me, okay? So I'm going to do that, okay? So we're going to take care of the immediate issue, but we're going to set this aside for now until I am in a place where I can engage with you because I want to make sure that I hear you and that I give you the time that you deserve. Yes, you're talking to your emotions as if you were talking to a human being. Because it is a human being. It's you that's having those feelings. And you guys need to work that out. This part of you that's having those feelings, the feelings themselves, and you. Because if you don't, and especially if it's come out, you've interacted with it, and then you think you're just going to walk away and forget it. Have you ever tried that with a human being? And you were kind of like arguing and stuff, and then you became dismissive of them. You tried to do that walk away thing, and that person was just like, oh, no, you don't. And they go off on you 10 times worse because you tried to ignore them. You tried to dismiss them. You know how irate they get? I really believe that when we ignore an emotion that is trying to talk to us about some trauma, I mean, that's what it is. It's basically a piece of myself that has been traumatized that is like, hey, hi, conscious Melissa. I really want you to know that this is going on, and I really want to talk to you about it. I feel like now is a good time for us to finally explore this. And I said, you know what? Now's not a good time for me. I'll get back to you in a week. And the emotion was like, okay, because it's already hurt, because you said no, like to right now, you're like, smack. And it's like, oh, okay, all right, I'm sorry. I'll go hide back in the darker reaches of your psyche until, like you said, a week. I'll be back there with your irrational fear of spiders and octopi. Okay, but just things with 8. Then, like, a week goes by, and I have not, re-engaged with this emotion, and it's back there like, she said a week, right? It's been a week. I mean, I don't have a text. I don't have anything. She didn't write anything in her journal. I didn't hear her talk to anybody about it. this is right. I will not be ignored like this. Now you've ticked off an emotion. Now it's going to come back and keep kicking you harder and harder and harder and harder until you deal with the trauma. Or until you completely dissociate on that particular issue. Which this is not, to me, I don't know, this isn't an example of something, but I do dissociate from stuff all the time. And we will talk about that another time. I have to deal with this. I really do. I really do. And I think my husband needs to deal with it. I think we need to deal with it as a couple because we just keep telling each other it's okay. And it is okay. It's okay, but it's also not okay. And it's okay that it's not okay. And we need to talk about that. And, now though, I'm having that thought and that realization, but the man's having his knee replaced tomorrow. Now's not a good time to have that conversation. So you need to know when to do that. And that's how you slowly but surely empty the self-hate crap bucket. You treat the emotions, the negative emotions, you treat them with as much respect as you would another human being in pain. And then slowly but surely, you work through each person in pain that is in your crap bucket until you can get it down to a manageable level. I'm not sure anyone has an empty crap bucket because crap always coming in, but then you can start to like the overflow of good crap can maybe go into the crap bucket. And I'm not really sure how that analogy totally works, but like I feel like I don't want the good stuff to suppress the crap, but I'm overthinking my metaphor. But you know what I mean, right? I think that I'm done. I think I'm done downloading from God or whatever. That the whole point of this was that self-hate has to be dealt with. Has to. And self-hate all comes from trauma. All of it. All of it. So it means dealing with our trauma, which is a kind of a big topic of this channel. But also knowing when and where it is a good time to deal with our trauma in a safe space, in a safe way, at a safe time is really, really important. And that's why I think therapy and counseling and even group counseling is essential to doing this. Don't ever try to unpack your trauma alone. Please don't do that. Don't do that. And do it with a professional. You just posting it on Facebook or talking about it in online groups can be helpful, but you need a professional to do that kind of stuff so you can learn how to do it. And then, now I've learned all the skills to help me do it my way that's safe for me. You need to figure out what that is for you. So please do not try to do it alone. Okay? I really do believe that by normalizing all of these conversations and you guys sharing your experiences here and everywhere, that we can normalize all of the mental illness and mental health and mental wellness stuff that people really should be talking about. And then we can all get better together. Thank you so much, guys. I love you so much.